We have a very great opportunity to hear from Karen and Rob. And let me tell you a bit about these two. Karen Carnahan is the President and COO of Document Management Division of Cintas Corporation. And just a delight. I've been getting to know her the last couple weeks. Absolutely enjoying getting to know her. Rob Comfort is the President of Huntington Investment Company and actually graduated from Miami. Karen graduated from Ohio State, which is good. My wife is from Ohio State. That's a really good thing. Way to go, Karen. And but Rob is a Miami merger, so that's good too. Previous to this meeting, we had a meeting with business students, an invite-only dinner that they got to share some of their story and principles, and then they're going to come back in 2 weeks and meet with 8 different students that talk more individually with them about their just how to be a Christian in the marketplace, or any other questions they might have. So it's been really a delight to have them, and I just want to, could you guys say thank you to them already for being here? They're taking time from family and from work to be here, and I really, really do appreciate it. Well, you know, we've been in this series on distortions, and I want to read a quote from C.S. Lewis to start us off. And I wasn't reading this book, I actually stole it from a book, so don't be too impressed by that. But C.S. Lewis says this, he says, "Prosperity knits a man to the world. He feels he is finding his place in it, while really it's finding its place in him." So I thought it'd be a great first question for these two to respond, and that is, how have you been able to be successful, but not let the success take root in your soul in a negative way?
Okay, I'm first. First of all, thank you for welcoming me to the Richard T. Farmer School of Business and crew. This is a first on both fronts. I've never been to this school of business, although I live with the Farmer family for the last 33 years at Cintas, so all I hear about is Miami University and the Richard T. Farmer School of Business, and I will be able to go back to Dick Farmer and say, I experienced 2 firsts on Thursday night, being in this auditorium and celebrating with crew, and he will be absolutely amazed at the number of good-looking people in this audience. You will be so proud to hear that this forum is being used for such a great cause. Okay, so how does prosperity and success not go to your head? How do you keep grounded? First and foremost, it just comes back to your DNA. I've always been a very humble person. I was raised in a very humble community, very small community, not a lot of wealth in that community. I grew up in a family that had a pharmacy, so we saw a lot of sick people, and we had to keep a lot of secrets about all the illnesses and diseases and things that all of us go through. And so it kept me very rooted, very grounded, and in a Christian family, it just became part of my DNA. And I would say, so first and foremost, it's who I am. Second, it doesn't take a lot to make me happy. I can smile, I can be happy, and it's a choice, and it doesn't matter what my success is. And it also comes back to the company I work for, which stands for the right things, and pretty much keeps us all grounded in our success and doesn't really let it go to our heads. And we all stay realists. And the last thing I would say is, being in a division, we actually have 30,000 partners at Cintas. We call our employees partners, but in my division we have 2,000 partners. We're in an industrial type business. It's a document destruction, document shredding business. So we're dealing with heavy equipment, it's dangerous equipment, and I'm constantly praying for the safety of my partners. I know that really it doesn't matter about the top and bottom line. It's all about allowing people to come to work and make a good living, but going home safely to their families. And so that just keeps me grounded as well.
I think a couple things that really keep you grounded. One, so before he makes fun of my grade point when I went here.
I didn't bring that up. Just let you, I didn't say anything.
Go ahead, tell him what my grade point was.
No, you tell him. I feel it keeps adding it. You keep adding points.
Somewhere between a 2.7 and a 2.8. Okay, so he was going to tell you no matter what. He can't resist telling you that. So we'll get it over. So,
but what is your job title again? What is your title? You're president of Huntington Investment with a 2.7. Just want to connect those dots. So go ahead. Which is good.
And that's why I know that's number one. That everything I've been blessed with, the talents God has given me, the abilities, the success has all been from Him. Because I'm just a normal kid. No, I'm not a kid. I'm 50. But I was just a normal kid. And so I recognize that, A, the success is from Him, first and foremost. And that keeps me humble. I do something every night when I leave my office. It might sound corny. I close the door, I get on a knee, and I acknowledge that everything is from Him. It's not mine. Okay? And that keeps me humble. Number two, I recognize that there's a Bible verse that says, to whom much is given, much is expected. God blesses people with success so they can give back to others in need. So it's all about blessing comes not for how much we can keep and hoard and spend. And there's nothing wrong with fun things. I'm not saying that. I like cars and fun things like anybody. But He gives us blessings so we can give back, so that we can be generous, so that we can make a difference. And I think that's really what keeps me humble, Mark, that I've got a responsibility to give back and be generous.
That's good. Good answer, Rob. Here's a question. You know, these students are hearing a ton of messages from the world, from professors, from even people they do internships with. Here's a question. What are the things that a student could do right now that would have the best impact on their future professional job?
I'll go first. Okay. Karen wants me to go first. All right. Well, as you're looking at whether you're going to be in business, in the marketplace, start your own company, whether you're going to be an engineer, whether you're going to be an educator, somebody in med school, whatever you're going to do, whether you're going to go into a mission work of some kind, I think there's a couple things. As you're thinking about how do I prepare myself, I'll go through these very, very quickly. Stretch yourself. Find ways to grow. Find ways to stretch. Do things that you might be afraid to do and do them anyway, right? So that's how you get better. Number two, give and be compassionate. Don't say I gotta wait to start giving and being compassionate for people until I'm out of college. You know, the scriptures are very clear that giving generously of our money and our time and our talents, especially to those that need it, is something He expects even at this age. So if you get in that habit now, it's really, really important. Be people that are proactive. Be initiators. Don't wait for somebody to volunteer you for something. Get involved. Be an initiator. All right? Work on your people skills. In the end, in business, in any career, it's your people skills that's going to win the day. Your ability to interact with people and communicate with people and connect with people is going to be the key. Finally, don't rush your life. So many people say, I can't wait to get out of college and get to work. You know what I say? Why? You know, work is great, but this is some of the best years of your life. Why rush it? You know? So while you want to prepare for the future, don't get obsessed with it. Enjoy the time you're in right now as well. And then when it's time to move on, don't hold on to the past either. Acknowledge it's time to move on. Every phase of life is really great. So Mark, those are some of the thoughts.
I'm going to give another question to Karen, but as a future parent of a Miami student, I would put a caveat to that don't rush it, but stay within 4 years. Not 5. So I'm sure the parents that will watch this on YouTube will appreciate that comment. Hey, Karen, here's a question for you. How do you personally stay focused on Christ in the midst of so much busyness and craziness and responsibility of your role?
First of all, you know, we're all human beings, and unfortunately we can't control what's going to happen in our lives, whether it's in our personal or professional lives. And it just takes a couple of things to bring you back to your Christian faith and rely on what you believe. We can sit here right now and say, well, okay, you know, that's easy. I have strong beliefs in honesty and integrity and moral high ground and ethics, but it just takes a couple things to really shake you up and bring you back to the fact that we can't control it, we can't change it. Rob was saying earlier, we definitely can figure out how we're going to respond to it, but there is absolutely a humbling reality out there that you're not going to get through it alone. You're going to have to rely on your faith. You're going to have to rely on your family. You're going to have to rely on your friends, or you're not going to get through. And I know that you've all had experiences. You obviously have an extended family who have gone through things, and that's why we have the faith that we have, right? We all realize that we're not going to get through this alone. And in business, it's like Rob said, we have to stop and pause and thank our God that He helps us through this. And it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I know you're all Christians and you have a strong faith, but please, 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 never forget the power of prayer, because it is absolutely amazing what God will do in your lives when those times of adversity step in. And then it's things that will happen to you. Doors will open, people will come into your lives, and you'll sit back and you'll go, that was unbelievable. So, power of prayer, and make sure that you keep that strong faith, because you're going to need it.
Well, I'm going to guess, Rob, that next week you're probably not going to be wearing a before and after t-shirt to work, right? Probably not going to do that with a little white word to describe. So
I've been known to do some crazy
okay,
things.
well, maybe you would. It's okay. Well, we have any extra t-shirts? It's challenging for that. But no, I want to ask a question that's been a number of questions related to this are, how does it look like for you to have a ministry in the marketplace? What are some examples of opportunities you've had to minister to employees, share the gospel? Just give us a brief kind of examples of what that looked like.
Yeah, I think what living out your faith in the workplace does is it gives you the ability through many different ways to shine the light of Christ. It's not always verbal. In fact, it's more important how you live and how you treat people and how you work before you even can get verbal. So it's showing people the light of Christ. So just a couple quick things. We have a lot of reason to be joyful as Christians because we know we're going to heaven. We know we're forgiven. I want to thank T. Paul because, man, that took a lot of courage to come up here, dude. And I just am very, very impressed with your courage and your story of God's redemption. So thank you very much. We have other reason to be joyful over our forgiveness, knowing we're going to heaven. God commands us to work hard. God says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. He doesn't want He wants our best, all out. We can be differentiators by working hard, right? Integrity, being men and women of integrity, staying true to our word, caring and connecting with people. God commands us to care for people and connect with people. And let me say this. What really shines the light of Christ in the workplace is having an attitude that says that it's not about what can I get from people, it's about what can I give to people. How can I serve rather than be served? That's what Jesus said. He came to serve, not to be served. So if your attitude is what can I get from my boss, what can I get from the people that work for me, what can I get from my clients, that's a dangerous attitude. If you shine that light by saying, what can I give to people, and put others before you, that is a way to have people say, what's different? You have joy? you have peace, you work hard, you excel, and you care about people. Wow, what's different about you? Then you can tell them it's Jesus.
I would imagine that's difficult to do if you don't have a connection with God, if you're not walking, developing, cultivating a relationship with God, which is a great thing for students to do now. As they cultivate and develop the relationship with God, those habits that they develop in college are going to affect the rest of their lives in the marketplace. Right, Rob?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So make sure.
So, the important thing is you have a chance to tap into so many great resources here at Miami. Take advantage of them. Your classrooms, your organizations, but in a group like Crew, and by the way, we used to call it Campus Crusade for Christ, and I used to come to these meetings. We called it prime time in the 1980s, early 80s, Mark, thank you. And
80s were a great decade. I love the 80s.
This organization helped me find Christ and build the foundation for my life. So if you have opportunities to plug in, be involved in a Bible study, come to Crew, reach out and do some things to impact other people. You have so many resources to do it right here. Take advantage of those resources. Build that foundation now. Is that okay?
That's great. Karen, here's one for you. What has been some of the greatest temptations for you in the marketplace?
She gets the temptation question. Okay.
Why didn't I get the easy one? I don't know. First of all, I guess I have to say this, is that, you know, we just touched on the fact that you are going to you're already very grounded in your faith, and you stand for what's right in your Christian principles. And so, if you want to press the easy button, find a company where your values align with the values of the company. And then you aren't going to be tempted to do crazy things. You're not going to be tempted to cheat your customers. You're not going to be tempted to put something fraudulent in your financial statements. You're not going to end up finding your names in the front page of the Wall Street Journal, like so many accomplished executives have wonderful reputations and great standards of living, only to do one crazy thing. As Rob said earlier at dinner tonight, and it's usually not one crazy thing. It starts out as one small thing, and it grows into something really, really big. And all of a sudden, they lose their career paths. Their families are absolutely devastated, torn apart, usually result in divorces. And so, all I would say to you is, if you don't want to get out there in that ugly world and get tempted to do things that aren't in line with what you stand for today, then pick the right company to go work for, so that you every day, every walk in your career is really easy.
It's really good. Yeah, Luke 16:10 says this to support what she was saying, is that he who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much. But he who is unrighteous in a very little thing is unrighteous also in much. Luke 16:10. You want to be faithful in big things, it's being faithful in little things. It's being faithful in what you think about. It's being faithful in how you do your work as a student, how you work, what you do this summer. All those little things, the things that no one ever sees, but God sees. It's working on those really little things that lead to big things. But the converse is true as well. If you compromise in little things, if you're unrighteous in little things, you don't just wake up and say, I think I'll ruin my life tomorrow. It's unrighteous decision, unrighteous, 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 and then boom, your life is ruined. And so,
hey Mark, can I press on that for just 1 second? There's one more thing as you're preparing, and Karen touched on it. Don't compromise your integrity in any way, not even the littlest things. If you start now and you say, I'm not going to compromise, I'm not going to stretch the truth, I'm not going to cheat even a little bit, right? I'm not going to do something that no one knows I'm doing behind closed doors, because God knows. If you make that a habit now, it'll prepare you well for when you're in the workplace. Because there will be temptations. There will be times when you're asked to do things or you're tempted to do things. And it's always giving a little bit that leads to more and more and more and more. And you have a chance now to set the right tone. I gave the example earlier of a resume. Is your resume 100% truthful? No stretching the truth. If you do that, God will honor that. All the decisions you make to put integrity first and truth first, God will honor that. I promise you that.
Really good. Here's another question for you. This is a number of people ask this question. How are you able to balance work and family? Rob? Karen? Rob? A good one?
I don't do it very well. I have a husband of 36 years, and I have two gorgeous sons. And I pray every night that they're going to meet a good Christian girl. So give me your names, and I'll give you their names, and we'll just do a little, what is it, Miami merger? Is that what you call it?
They all hang out here on Thursday night, so...
She's been taking notes.
So I know, I'm searching the audience. You see me looking. Balancing work and family. My boys were the pride of my life, and I did everything I could to be involved in their extracurricular activities, and I made sure that if I had to leave work on a Friday evening at 6 o'clock and travel with them on their ice hockey escapades, I was with them. But when they were not involved in those events, then I made sure I was at work. We have a very strong work ethic. We demand a lot of our people. There are several of our partners here in this audience tonight who are coming to work for Cintas this summer after they graduate, and we have a very strong work ethic, and we just all have to make personal decisions about how we plug in those times of great relationships, building relationships with our family and our friends, and make sure that we balance it. But it's difficult, and it's just something that you have to personally figure out how you're going to do it. But thankfully, there's 24 hours in a day, and you want to make sure that you maximize every one of them.
Rob, can you comment on the importance of choosing the right mate, the right spouse? Both of these executives earlier today talked about the significance of the person you end up with. And they probably have many stories of poor decisions with friends. The older you get, the more you see. And I see those in friends of mine that have just really made poor choices. But what would you exhort these young college students when it comes to, because, it's been said that the three things that you need to focus on is first, determine who your master is. Like, who's going to be the master of your life? Is it going to be you? Or is it going to be the Lord? The second thing you have to ask the question in your life is what is your mission? What's your mission going to be in life? Or what are your values? Or what are you going to be about as a person? And then lastly is who might your mate be? And I've observed over many years that it gets all messed up. The most important thing is the mate, and then maybe the mission, and well, I don't know who the master is. So could you both comment, because this is really significant in both of your lives, and in what everyone wants is a successful life, right? A life that is able to be abundant, which includes a satisfying job, but also a satisfying marriage and family. And I think oftentimes, and you alluded to it, we see the opposite of that. We see someone really successful in the marketplace, but their family's in shambles. And could you just both comment as we wrap this up on the importance of who you choose to marry?
Is this our last question?
I think it is. They're telling me, yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, it goes back to, again, what your beliefs are and these common beliefs that you're sharing with your partners, and making sure that you have everything you can think of in common, right? Now, fact is, right, we all change. And so it's a choice about, again, being happy and making a life for ourselves and for our kids, because once you have children, it will take on a whole new meaning, and then you have a responsibility to them as well as to your spouse. So all I can say to you is this: please go about that very slowly. Make sure you really understand who the other person is. Share ideas, share principles, share values, get to know each other in different situations. and make sure that you're doing everything you can from, I would call it, due diligence standpoint. A lot of my career at Cintas, I did due diligence in making acquisitions for the company. What does that mean? You're kicking the tires and you're figuring out exactly what you're going to get married to. And that is a very, very, very heavy responsibility. As much as it is finding a great company to go work for, wow, make sure you take your time and really marry the right person for life.
Just to kind of close out, I will tell you this. No matter how successful somebody is, no matter how high the ladder they climb, no matter how much money they make, if their home life is miserable, they are miserable. And there's no amount of money, and there's no amount of success, and no amount of power and prestige that can make up for a broken home life. So marrying somebody who is, starting by dating somebody, and then eventually marrying somebody, I never thought of it as kicking the tires, but I like that. That is aligned with your values, with your faith. Jesus is important to you, and I believe that is the core of who we are. Then aligning yourself with somebody who has Jesus as their Savior and Lord and has those same value systems is absolutely critical, because you can say all you want that we love each other. You know what? If you're not aligned, then there's danger down the road. So really assessing and realizing that the fulfillment of your life, so much will hinge on that decision. Okay, so that's really important. I'll kind of close with just a principle that I talked about earlier tonight. I'd like you to think about this. My sons hear it all the time, and they're up there. And I know what Bennett's going to say, Dad, enough of this E plus R equals O stuff. But let me talk about it. It's a simple math equation even somebody with a 2.7 like me can understand. It simply goes like this. Event plus response equals outcome. So let's agree that in every area of our lives, our careers, our relationships, our friendships, everything we do, we want a great outcome, don't we? That's why you're here. But there's always going to be events in life that you face, decisions that you face, where you have to say, I want a great outcome. Here's the event. And I don't always control the event. What's the only thing I control? Is what's my response going to be? What's my decision going to be? And that's where you have to press the pause button on every decision you make, large and small, and say, wait a minute, there's a big E here. You know, I really think I'm attracted to this person, or I'm really mad at this, or I'm really scared about this. I still want to have a great outcome. What's my R? What's my response going to be? It's the only thing I control. Don't just react. Don't ignore it and kind of hide and get scared. But think about a proactive response and decision based upon my values, based upon what Christ would want me to do. Given I want a great outcome for my life, what's the decision I'm going to make? So think about everything you do and everything you face. Press the pause button and ask yourself, what's the right decision here? Press it long enough to make a good decision. Marriage, career, whatever it is. Somebody's trying to get you to do something you shouldn't do. Time out, press pause. This isn't right. It's against my values. It's against what God would want me to do. And it's going to give me a bad outcome. Not going there. Okay? So remember that little equation. It will get you through everything in life. E plus R equals O. Think about your R, your response, every time.